I was up very late last night finishing the review of this that is on figures.com as of this morning, and I figured, hey, you know what? Let's look at this stuff. Jeez. I don't know what's going on in the other room, but it's very loud. I figured, you know what? We can look at some HeroClix here too, even though it's Warhammer Wednesday. I haven't, as you all know, I haven't been doing a lot of hobbying lately. Just haven't had the time with everything that's been going on. So one day we'll get back to that. One day. So these are the new boosters: X-Men, Rise, and Fall. And I'm not super up on what's going on in comics, but a lot of this stuff is based on not current comic books anyway. So this set is X-Men and Shi'ar. So if you're not familiar with the Shi'ar, it's the Shi'ar Empire is a bunch of aliens out in space. They're vaguely, what are they modeled after? I can't remember. They're modeled after something, but yeah, bird-like. Thank you. Yeah, they've got like bird elements to their uniforms and stuff. They're a star-spanning empire, and they're protected by the Imperial Guard, which is essentially a team of super-powered beings that watch out for them. And there's some really famous ones that you see over and over again in the comics, and there are a whole bunch of background Imperial Guard characters, essentially. So they've got some cool artwork, and then we've got Deadpool. I don't know, let's focus. Deadpool down at the bottom, jumping out of a cake. So there's an Ultra Chase birthday Deadpool coming out of a pink cake. So good luck pulling that one. Scott Porter showed it off already and showed off the dial. He's immensely powerful and can do just a bunch of crazy stuff. We'll come back to Deadpool in a minute. And then the sides show you some of the sub-themes, or the themes in the set. So we've got some Shi'ar members. We've got Brotherhood of Mutants. Exiles. Which everybody always clamors for in HeroClix. So hopefully they're satisfied now. We've got more Exiles. And Krakoa. Interestingly, we just had a House of X-Men set just a few months ago that had a lot of modern, current X-Men in it. So it's a little weird seeing some of these characters immediately remade. But again, gives HeroClix players more options and more cool things to pull. And then the chase theme is Infinity Warps. Now this is a storyline I know nothing about. So apparently it's spun out of Infinity. No, I'm sorry. It was Arsenal Roy. What was the story? I know you know this. But essentially, it's a world where it's like the opposite of Thanos' thing, or not an opposite, but Infinity Wars. Yeah. So essentially, there's a separate reality where there were half as many people, but there were half as many people because two people were combined for every one person. Something like that. Yeah. So all of the characters are two people combined for some reason. So this is something Hex, and she's X-23 and Scarlet Witch, apparently. Obviously Dupe and Deadpool. So yeah. So yeah. So those are the boosters, all the same. In the old days, there used to be two different covers on the boosters, so like two different artwork. Sometimes they would fit together like a multi-panel thing. They haven't done that in a while. It's typically just one image now. So you open up these boosters. What are you going to get? Well, you're going to get a whole bunch of figures. I'll post a link to my actual review on the Discord at some point. But as what most X-Men sets do, it starts with a Wolverine. Pretty standard little Wolverine. 45 points. And again, in the modern meta of HeroClix, figures are most figures are fewer points, short dials, very effective, shockingly high stats compared to older figures for the cost. But they don't live quite as long. Sort of overall things in this set that were interesting, just like the last set, the Wonder Woman set. All the figures are on these detailed like terrain bases, and it does add to their height. So again, for the people, for the people taking issue with the size, they're definitely bigger. Yeah, Arsenal Roy. Let's see, what do I have out here? Oh yeah, I showed Colossus the other day. Yeah, now, not the best example, but it's a pretty striking one. So, an older Colossus. Sorry about the crying. Definitely not standing up straight. Okay. New Colossus, standing up straight. Ruiner, thank you so much for that. Yes, I know. I'll be thinking about the Texas crew on Saturday. So the new Colossus is standing up straight and is a very tall figure even among the new set, but side by side, it's kind of shocking. It's like that. Don't bother me and don't talk to me and my son. Yeah, that's kind of an extreme example. Yeah, but again, like, this Colossus is especially tall, even in the new scale. And that happens, right? I mean, not all the figures are going to have different levels. Like, also, the new Warpath is also huge for some reason. He's not standing up quite straight, but, I mean, if he did, he would also be, like 8 feet tall. Yeah, so we get a bunch of X-Men in the commons, and again, like I dig these bases. There's a bunch of them that have like this moonscape kind of thing, and then there's some street style bases. There's a lot of sculpted detail into it. They're not painted practically at all. So if you wanted to, you could go in with just a wash or like a dry brush and actually like pick out a lot of those details, which would be cool. But I think it does add something to the figures. Whenever I see this kind of thing, I always think back to the Collateral Damage DC set from many, many, many years ago when they're like, what if we put some terrain on these figures? And it was really cool. I think it was a good idea, and I think it's a good idea now. So yeah, this new Colossus is 75 points or 50 points. A brief digression. So with every HeroClix set, WizKids introduces some kind of a new mechanic, typically, sometimes more than one new mechanic. So for this new set, there's this rally feature. And this is a new thing that shows up. It's just on the card. So it has the usual trait symbol on the base. There's no like new symbol for rally, but it's its own thing with a new symbol here. And every figure that has it has the full rally rules on the back. It's a little complicated, so I'm just going to read what it says. Rally. Once per roll for each die in a finalized attack roll, and for all characters with a matching rally die and trait color printed under their trait star, after resolutions you may choose a friendly character to gain a matching rally die. Rally trait colors specify which attack type they can gain rally dies from. Blue from friendly attack rolls, red from opposing attack rolls, green from all attack rolls. When a character gains a rally die, place a die with a matching result on their card. So essentially what it says that when certain attack rolls are made, depending on your rally color here, characters with the rally ability get a die that goes on their card. So you roll a die and then put it on their card. and then depending on what their rally ability is, you can use that die later. It's interesting. Some of them are super fun and really thematic. It does definitely add another layer of complexity, especially if you're playing a team with a bunch of these things on it. You're going to have a lot of extra things to think about and remember. So it's going to be good for some people, not so good for others. Looking at this new set, again, this is just what I pulled out of one brick. So one brick is 10 boosters, 50 total figures. So if you look through, so rally there, a few rallies there. These are some duplicates though in the commons. So there are a few figures with it, but certainly not all of them. Sabretooth, Longshot, Moira, Banshee, Professor X. So it's scattered through, and it's more... Yeah, there are a couple throughout the other rarities, but several of them in the commons, at least. Hey, Ardens, we are looking at some HeroClix today. And all these HeroClix, they're not out yet. We actually don't know exactly when they're coming out. 2021 is shaping up to be a lot like 2020 was in some ways. But international shipping right now and distribution is an absolute nightmare. So we just got to, bear with it. It'll be out eventually. Right now they're hoping for a pre-release. Yeah, exactly. So the latest information from WizKids a couple days ago was they're hoping to have a pre-release on the 30th of June, but even that might get pushed into July, and then the full set will come out a couple weeks later. So yeah, mid-July in theory, but again, don't really know at this point. So we've got a Wolverine, we've got a Colossus, Marvel Girl in her blue outfit, and as I put out in the review, you're gonna get a mix of sculpts and poses and paint jobs, but even like regular looking humans. Obviously, she's a mutant and has lots of cool powers, but this isn't like a super crazy sculpt. But I like it. And I think, and they did a really good, I don't know how well we'll be able to see it, but they did a really good job on her face paint, especially with that little blue. Yeah, I don't know how, I can't really get it any closer than that, but it looks cool. Again, Warpath is enormous. And again, I really like that there's a mix of like classic looks in this set. And going by like the cards, some of these figures are very specifically older versions of these characters. They're not the current modern ones, especially when we start getting into, well, I mean, we'll just look at it now. So we've got, in the commons, we've got X-Men, and we've got some bad guys. Now, Sabretooth over the years he's been a bad guy, he's been a good guy, he's been on a million teams. So which specific Sabretooth is this? Well, obviously from the costume, it's, that the costume itself dates the character, but then if you look at the card, where is Sabretooth? I guess I could have looked at his number. So this Sabretooth specifically has the keywords for Brotherhood of Mutants, Marauders, and Weapon X. So those are the teams that he's going to play best on. He also has Animal and Monster. Those are generic keywords. So again, this is clearly like an older version of Sabretooth, and it's his significant appearance, not first appearance, significant appearance, Uncanny X-Men 213 from 1987. That cover looks familiar. I think I've read that comic. Anyway, so we get some classic X-Men villains in this set as well, not just like the modern versions of these characters. So looking at the other commons for the X-Men, got Havoc and Polaris. Now, a lot of people have complained because the last couple versions of Havoc and Polaris were used some sculpts that had come out before. So now we have new sculpts. They're okay. I don't know if they're going to satisfy the people who were disappointed with the last ones. I don't know, for some reason these characters don't get a lot of love. They're also like really bare bones dials. They're each 35 points. But hey, what are you gonna do? And they've got X-Men. He's got the X Factor. They're Starjammers. So so it mixes in a little bit of the more recent storytelling for those people. Who else do we have here in the commons? Oh, and then Darwin. With like a kind of a weird, elongated, punchy thing going on. I'm Darwin. I can survive anything. Except if I'm in a movie, I will be the first to die. Which makes no sense. I mentioned Starjammers. If you're familiar with, again, some of these. So X-Men, they did a weird thing way back when in the comic books. X-Men are mutants here on Earth, but they have a lot of interaction with space stuff. Someone had to die. Yeah, no, not really in that Darwin scene. The X-Men over the years have had a lot of interaction with space things. Again, specifically the Shi'ar. But not just that, because also, as it turns out, Havoc and Cyclops' another one's dad is a space pirate. The Starjammers. And again, in the last X-Men set, we got all the Starjammers. And in this set, we have a bunch of Starjammers. It's just a thing. Savage Punch. So sometimes HeroClix has done a lot of interesting things with Multiple Man over the years. Sometimes on his card, it'll have... Some Multiple Men can spawn additional Multiple Men, and then it'll just have like their stats on how to play the other ones. There's been a Multiple Man thing on a colossal base. It's like trying to depict a whole bunch of them together doing things. Yeah, there's been things where, yeah, so you can play one and then he can spawn other ones, but you have to have those other figures. Typically those are common figures, so they're relatively easier to pull in a set. But yeah, the space pirate thing is wacky. So we get Starjammers in this set, and Corsair has he's pretty much always looked the same. He's a space pirate. He's got blasters and a sword. He's very space piratey with that scarf. I only pulled, of the core Starjammers crew, I only pulled 2 members. So Corsair and then Raza, the swordsman. And again, like classic appearance here with just those awesome pastel colors. I love it. The previous set had the Starjammers and more of their updated, more modern looks. So like Raza had like a black suit with other kind of stuff going on with it. Adam X the Extreme. Yeah, well. So joining Sabretooth in the bad guys, and again, they change over the years, is Blob. And I gotta say, I am really enjoying this Blob figure. Now, I've been on record as not being particularly happy with past depictions of overweight characters in HeroClix. A lot of the Blob and Big Bertha figures, they just made them look really gross. And like the proportions were all over the place. And I just didn't like them. This is definitely a Blob I can get behind. He's cool. He's got a good pose. He's running forward. They gave him some fun stuff with the shirt here. His proportions are not too far. I mean, obviously, like his arms are super thick, but like he doesn't. This to me doesn't scream gross looking, unlike some of the other ones we've had in the past. So yeah, I'm happy with this new Blob. And he's cool. He's got the little soul patch going and sunglasses. 50 points. Full, almost a full dial of impervious. So that's a good blob. Happy with that blob. It's Beach Blob. There you go. Yeah, he's cool. He doesn't have charge. He has sidestep, but that's probably because he's wearing flip-flops. And as we all know, especially when you're on the beach, you can't run in flip-flops. Very difficult. We talked about the Shi'ar and especially their Imperial Guard. So the Shi'ar Imperial Guard is also kind of like the Legion of Superheroes, because all of the characters, they're all super powered. They all come from different races and different planets. So among the commons, at least here, we've got Impulse. I have absolutely no idea who this character is. Apparently he shoots some kind of visor I-beams. Cool. He looks fine. At first glance, I was like, oh, he must be some kind of speedster? But no, he just shoots I-beams. A solid little attacker for 40 points. And then everybody's favorite, Smasher. And again, he even looks like he could be in the Legion of Superheroes. Oh, he's Wildfire. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, there was something on his card about like a cracked containment suit, which is exactly what Wildfire has happened a million times in the comics. But yeah, he's for Impulse Control. Yeah, so Smasher is based off of Ultra Boy from the Legion. The costume is very similar, just without the green. He's got the same deal where he sort of can only use one power at a time. But yeah, he's fun. There have been several Smashers in HeroClix over the years. It's also a title, not a specific character. So there have been various Smashers in the Imperial Guard over time, including a lady, which is pretty cool. So we've got a Smasher there. And then we all love when we get generics, especially in the commons, so we can collect them. So we've got a Shi'ar Soldier, who looks pretty rad. Also another really big figure. For some reason, the scale on this one feels a little bit off. So again, you can see like with that crested helmet, some of those bird-like features to these guys. So he's just a generic soldier. And then we do get some Hellfire Club figures. So here's a Hellfire Club guard. He's listening to his radio. What? Mutants are attacking? Where? I'm sure we'll be fine. These are just really low-level mooks. 25 points. Oh my god, the style's really hard to turn. Okay, there we go. He's got Running Shot, Psychic Blast. So yeah. And then, probably the coolest generic we've seen in a while. And unfortunately, out of a whole brick, I only pulled one of them. Thankfully, I pulled one. The new Brood. Well, the new Brood figure, anyway. Just fantastic. Super great sculpt. Relatively simple paint job. You could, like I said, on most of these figures, if you wanted to, you could do some additions to it. Nice big size. Got those translucent wings. Yeah, this is a cool one for sure. Brood, obviously based on aliens from the Alien and Aliens movies. I know a lot of people call them xenomorphs. That's not technically their name if you want to get really pedantic. So yeah, very cool Brood figure. Only 15 points. So you could potentially run 1 million of these things. There's a Brood Queen at a higher rarity level. I did not pull her, but good luck chasing down all those broods. People are going to want a bunch of these. So those are about all the commons. Oh, and you can have your Sabretooth versus Wolverine fight. Come on. Oh, my focus is going real slow today. There we go. There we go. Let them fight. And yes, if you have HeroClix players, you got to make them battle each other. That's just fun. All right, so moving on to the uncommons. Oh, and again, so those are the commons that I pulled. I pulled duplicates of a few of those figures. Unfortunately, even in a full brick, I did not get one of every common, but that happens more and more these days. You're not guaranteed a full set of commons in one brick. If you got a case, so that would be 20 boosters, I would assume you would get at least one of every common in a case, but certainly not guaranteed that in a brick. And again, it is what it is. Uncommons with the green tab. We've got Professor X. And like I said before, look, some figures, they just look like humans. They're not going to have super crazy poses. But I appreciate that they put a lot of detail into his clothing. And he's got a good face sculpt. It's kind of hard to see it. And the paint is all, you know, there's not a lot of crazy stuff going on. But everything's in the right place. Like I said, if you could look a little closer, his eyes look good. So, yeah. Solid. So this set has Professor X and Magneto among the uncommons. And again, older style Magneto. Oh my god. Uberbaldi has the most amazing luck at pulling and picking boosters for HeroClix. Always gets all the best stuff. It's remarkable. So these are low-level versions of the leaders. 25 points for Professor X. Only 40 points for Magneto. Which is kind of crazy. But these are definitely like leader versions. They've got a really cool ability, both of them. It's pretty much the same thing that if you're playing a theme team, so X-Men, and I think his is specifically Brotherhood, but essentially when you start the game, you can swap out their allies for other figures you have on your sideboard. So if you bring like a whole bunch of X-Men figures and you start your team with 6 of them, and then you see, oh, I'm facing something, then Professor X can, right before the game is about to start, he can swap out for other figures, so you can sort of fine-tune your team at the last minute. And Magneto has the same thing. Yeah, Arsenal Roy, that's the same thing I thought. I was like, oh, cool, another like powerhouse Magneto. Nope. This is mini Magneto. And I posted the card in my review today so everybody could see. But again, that's the trend. If you're going to play a big old team of Brotherhood of Mutants, he's got this long thing, essentially, again, that just lets you swap out for other characters. But, yep, he's only 4 clicks long. I mean, he's got great stats for a 4-click, 40-point figure. Yeah. And his, again, he's a really good leader, sharing energy shield deflection with friendly characters. So, yeah. Good guy, bad guy, in this era at least. We have another Moira. And again, last set had Moira X with all her crazy multiple lives powers. This is just classic Moira, and just a great classic, what the hell is this scientist doing in this costume? But sure, why not? And again, a regular human, but she went a little heavy on the lipstick, but she's got a pretty good face paint. She's also another like leader type. She's a unique, the silver ring. Oh, I wanted to point out, with all the other fun stuff going on in this set, where is he? Professor X. This Professor X has the keywords for X-Men, which you would expect, but also Illuminati and Shi'ar. So he can help out your Shi'ar team. It's kind of fun. Moira has She's got a rally that can heal a friendly character, and then she can also hand out rally dice to other X-Men, which is fun. Black Cavalier asks, do all these figures come on sculpted bases? So yeah, over the years it's varied. There have been some figures on sculpted terrain type bases, but it certainly hasn't been all of them. And in the last couple sets, all of the figures have had them. So that's definitely a new feature that is now on every figure. Yeah, because if I go back here, if you look at older figures, like a really old figure here, he's got a little bit of a terrain thing going on there. These are just kind of random things I have nearby, but Loki here has like some flames, but not really a terrain base. Well, Black Hand is literally coming out of a grave, so he's got a little bit more going on there. But yeah, there certainly have been tons of figures with no terrain whatsoever. But yeah, I like it on here. And again, as you can see, there are basically a couple of standard versions. There's the streetscape with the kind of manhole cover thing. There's, I don't know, what might be some kind of an interior of a building. There's grass. And then there's the moonscape looking one. Yeah, like Arsenal Roy said, the old Collateral Damage set, that was the famous set for like really introducing lots of terrain, and like terrain that came up around some of the figures. Some of the figures were actually interacting with it, which was cool. Other X-Men, we've got an Iceman. Cool translucent figure, looks good. He's doing a little like, yeah, rock on. He actually has a lot of sculpted detail, which is cool. Just very hard to see because he's translucent. No paint. Banshee, everybody's favorite, who's had a hit and miss HeroClix career. Well, hit and miss comic book career. He was dead for a long time. Get a nice classic version. They got him flying, which is cool. He's so low to the ground. It's a little weird, but it's fine. He's a good little Banshee. Playing him at 75 or 45 points. Good classic costume. Let's see. Long shot. Typical. I mean, he always pretty much looks the same. It's pretty standard dial, typical long shot dial. Everything you'd expect from a long shot. Going back to the last set had several. There have been some really good Banshees, just few and far between. The last set had X-23 in her modern incarnation as Wolverine. Now we get sort of a more, well, for her, this doesn't go back too far, but a classic X-Force X-23, which I was glad to see. She looks pretty cool. She's an uncommon. Those claws. She is 80 points, so she's pretty beefy. Especially, again, for modern HeroClix. And then Callisto, if you want to fill out your Morlocks team. I mean, she's been on some other stuff as well. But I was never a Callisto fan. She's fine, I guess. Sebastian Shaw in the uncommons. Now, some of these type of characters, obviously, he was a bad guy for a really long time. Currently on, well, I don't know, like, literally this minute in comics, but recently at least, part of the Quiet Council on Utopia, so he's, or on Krakoa, rather. So, good guy-ish, at least for the mutant homeland. So, these kind of figures are interesting because it's sort of a combination. So he's got Hellfire Club keyword, but he also has his Krakoan Revival. So he can revive other mutants, because that's what the Quiet Council does. Right, not a good guy, but yeah, but like working more with the good guys. Yeah, I mean, look, it's complicated. You could probably convert this pretty easily into an Abraham Lincoln if you wanted to. There is an Abraham Lincoln HeroClix figure, but you could just pop a hat on him. I just realized it's kind of weird that it's like he's wearing black gloves, but they go all the way up under his sleeves. That's fine, whatever. And then we have Eric the Red, classic Shi'ar character. This one, kind of annoying. One of those times, like, there is a decent amount of sculpted detail here, and the paint job sucks. Like, what is going on? Sorry, hit the camera. See those bands on his lower torso there? That's clearly part of his costume, but stop shaking, camera. But they just didn't paint it, and he's got like more armbands that they just didn't paint. So that's disappointing. Actually, yeah, those bands cross on his back too. It's a little harder to see. Maybe this is a one-off. Maybe other pulls of this figure will have that painted. I kind of doubt it though. So this is probably the most disappointing paint job that I've seen in this set. Otherwise, on the whole they're really good, but this one is like, yeah, don't sculpt details that you're not gonna paint, but they're gonna look really, really obvious. I don't think there's been an Eric the Red figure before. At least I don't remember one. He's super low. He's only 35 points. Just a little mind controller. So yeah, Eric the Red, Shi'ar in your uncommons. Getting a little bit into the upper echelons, we've got rares. Who do we have in the rares? Rares were interesting for my pulls, because for me they were mostly bad guys and then Shi'ar characters. So from the latter, we've got Lilandra. She is sometimes the ruler of the entire Shi'ar Empire. Sometimes she's Professor X's girlfriend. She's been dead a couple times. It's complicated. So here she's got a little fighting stance with her two little pistols. Pew pew. I do have an older Lilandra. So definitely bigger, if she was standing up straight, but not such a drastic change in scale. She's 50 points. She also has, let's see, she gets a star-crossed lovers. She and Professor X can boost each other up. Leadership, mastermind. On her leadership, she can generate more soldiers, which is cool. Yeah, she's got a nice little dial. Joining her is, let's see here, we've got War Star, one of the famous Imperial Guard members. He's a big, beefy, armored dude, and then he's got a little friend who rides on his back. And typically in HeroClix, when they've made this figure before, there's a mechanic for how Beni can jump off and go run around and cause havoc. Sometimes reattaching, sometimes not. They've made this character before. Previous one looked like this. So, scale change here is fairly apparent. This old one was good. It was a cool figure, but yeah, this new one is just way bigger. Yeah, and also, again, like this one, there are details on here, but not painted. It's just green. Is Mentor from the Imperial Guard set. I didn't pull Mentor. I don't remember seeing him on the list, but that's not to... I don't know. There is a full set list on WizKids' website. Now, you may notice on some of these older figures, you'll see things like this kind of weird base. You're like, oh, what's that for? It's kind of terrain, but it's also kind of like... It looks like a specific shape for some reason. And that's because for a short period of time in HeroClix, they thought it would be a good idea to have these things called team bases. Man. If you weren't playing HeroClix at the time, it's hard to really explain these things because they just look so ridiculous, and how you would play these is just so foreign to how HeroClix generally works. So this is the Shi'ar Imperial Guard team base. And yep, you can play this on your team or as your entire team. And there are a million rules how this works, but essentially you have to have a certain number of starting figures that start on the base. There are different point values. It has its own dial. Each figure that's on the base gives the base itself an additional power or ability. While you're playing, figures can jump off and go on solo adventures and then come back. It was a lot of rules. Now, they look super cool, especially when you have all the characters on them. I've got a bunch of the team bases upstairs on a shelf. But just an absolute nightmare to play these things. So overly complicated. Some of them were insanely overpowered for their points. Then WizKids issued an errata on them that completely nerfed all of the smaller ones. And then the bigger ones were still really hard to figure out. And then we've sort of all tried to forget that they ever existed. But again, great display pieces if you have all the figures on them. I'll say that. I'll say that for team bases. And they did them for... You can probably, off the top of your head, name teams that you would expect, and they made them. X-Men, Justice League, Avengers, Teen Titans. Yeah, there was a Marvel Zombies team base. They made a bunch of them. Bridging the Shi'ar and the X-Men is Kid Gladiator. Focus. Kid Gladiator. We had a Kid Gladiator a couple years ago in HeroClix. Very powerful. So if you are not familiar with what this guy comes from, so here's an older version. Now there are two new Gladiator figures in this set. I did not pull them. This is an older Gladiator. But Gladiator, again, from the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. Gladiator, come on, focus, please. There we go. Gladiator is Superman. Gladiator has all of Superman's powers, is insanely powerful, one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. He's the last of his kind. Well, he was until they found some more. His real name is Clark. Yeah, it's a little bit goofy. But that's Gladiator. Anyway, this is Kid Gladiator. All of his powers, but even more angst and fun stuff going on. He's purple. He's got a red mohawk. Kid Gladiator. Running shot, psychic blast, impervious. Impervious for his entire dial, which is pretty rad. 75 points, which again, in modern HeroClix, it's pretty tough. Pretty good for 75 points. All right, and then again, the rest of my rares at least have been bad guys or worked with bad guys. So we've got Destiny. Uh, Destiny has always been a weird one. She's usually like an old lady, but she still looks pretty hot. Great cape on there. No mentor. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I didn't remember seeing him, but I wasn't sure. She's got the gold face mask. Malice. Character we've seen before. She's fun. She's smiling. She's happy to be here. Tempo making her HeroClix debut. She's got a cool ability. She can increase or decrease other characters' speed by 3. So potentially make your attacker really fast to go in there and bust somebody up. Wolverine has a son. This may be news to some of you. Sorry, spoilers. Dakin, or I think I know some people call him Daken. It looks like Dakin to me. I don't know. He's got claws. He's got Wolverine's pants, but he goes shirtless. Great paint work on his tattoos. This is also a character. He's appeared in HeroClix before, but not very often. So, because this might be the last Dakin we ever get, he's got just a whole massive amount of Dakin. Right, sure, yeah. I mean, whatever you want. Okay, yeah, like the band. All right. Look, great minds think alike. I'll go with what you guys say. He's got a bunch of keywords: Brotherhood of Mutants, Dark Avengers, Dark X-Men, Horsemen, X Factor, X-Men. You can play him on a million teams, and he's pretty good. 70 points. He's canonically bisexual, I believe, which is cool. Then we've got Exodus. Looking good. Last version of him we had was on a colossal base. I have that figure somewhere. I should have brought it up. Oh well. And again, usually a bad guy. Currently, or at least recently, another member of the Quiet Council on Krakoa. He looks cool. I like that figure. Speaking of acolytes, Carmella. I don't know how her last name is pronounced. Onuscione? Something like that. And they didn't give her a cool superhero name. This is her first HeroClix figure, and she is amazing. This is one of my favorite sculpts in the entire set. Her human-looking side is good. She's got a really good sculpt and paint on her face. It's kind of hard to see. She's got a little thing on her forehead. But this psychokinetic thing is just a really, really well done effect. Lots of texture to it. The way it's flowing all around her. I think they did a fantastic job with this figure. Yeah, I know all the acolytes. This it definitely gives cool new stuff to play. And you can see in my review what I do when I review these, because again I just do pictures. I don't do videos for these things, but I show off what I got in each booster, and one of these boosters was a full Brotherhood of Mutants team, which was really cool. So it was. I think it was these, and then Mystique, the super rare. So it was actually a team in a box, which sometimes they'll include. And then I got a Prime, so this is an alternate version of Omega Red, classic X-Men villain. So the standard version of Omega Red is the basic bad guy version, and then this is the one that has been on X-Men and X-Force teams. I think I haven't really kept up with my Omega Red continuity. There you go. This figure also has more sculpted detail than the paint really shows at all, but at least it kind of blends in, unlike Eric the Red. 2 figures with red in their name. They should fight. And Omega Red would wipe the floor with Eric the Red. Super rares. I got 3 ladies for my 3 super rares. Deathbird, taking the avian heritage of the Shi'ar all the way into her name. She is Deathbird. She's got this really cool flowing costume with all these nice textures. The wings, the cape. 75 points. She's a badass. And then 2, again, former mutant villains, sometimes good guys. We got Emma Frost with Cerebra and Mystique. So those are fun. Mystique has the Krakoan revival trait. Emma Frost does not. For whatever reason. I don't know if there's an in-universe reason for that. Mystique is interesting. She starts off with this special power, Tougher Than I Look, with impervious, super senses, willpower, all protected from outwit. It's like, I didn't realize Mystique was actually that tough. It's pretty cool. For a super rare, she is pretty tough. X-Men and Brotherhood team abilities. She's got a lot going on for her. I did pull a Chase figure, and as we said, the Chase figures in this set are the Infinity Warps. So they're these characters from an alternate world where each one is 2 characters bashed together. So I got Hellhound, who is Magic, and Sabretooth put together. And she's got a lot of cool details. It's going to be tough to show off here because she's kind of a smaller figure, but she's got like a snarling face. She's got those horns. Some cool things going on her costume. Of course, her gigantic soul sword. So yeah, that's the Chase that I got here. Let's see. What does she do? She is 90 points just on the dial. There we go. 12 attack. Nice. She's got steel energy with close or ranged attacks. She rolls a d6, and then half the result is how much an enemy takes from her Mystics damage penetrating. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I like her. You can tell some more of the mashed up characters in this universe, because again, her trait here is Blood for Mephickton, so mashing up Mephisto and what's the other one? Is it just Chthon? So that's everything I got from a brick of boosters. So again, 10 boosters, 5 figures a piece. I got most of the commons, most of the uncommons, a few rares, 3 super rares, and 1 chase. There are a lot more figures out there to get, especially the super rares. There are a ton of super rares in this set, and I think 8 chase figures. So there's a lot. Now, if you really like X-Men and all the stuff you see here, you can go out and buy a bunch more stuff, like the... Oh, I guess Hudsonizer wasn't able to join us today, and he just started getting HeroClix. I'll have to see. I'll have to check out the VOD. Dyson tokens. So you need action tokens. You need more of them now than ever because there's no more pushing damage. So this set has some classic X-Men images on it. And then what's really cool is in recent sets, the back of these are bystander tokens for the characters that can create them in this set. So you're not necessarily going to have all the figures that use these. I actually do have one of them. So I showed you War Star. Find his card. Come on, War Star, where are you? There we go. So if you're playing War Star here, again, he's got the trait where he can pop out B'ni, and then it shows you what the stats are. So if you don't, so you could just put a sort of like, okay, this is going to be B'ni, and you put it down on the table, and then you look at the card for the stats. But if you bought the Dyson token pack, you actually get the B'ni bystander that you can put out on the field, which is super cool. Totally not necessary, but you know, they were selling these things anyway, so yeah, might as well put the things on the back to make them useful. And then the dice are the matching colors. And then this thing, I don't know exactly what this symbol is. Oh, thank you so much, ArsenalRoy2K. I appreciate that. All donations right now are going toward this Saturday when we're going to the Monrovia Warhammer opening. See if we can get some cool stuff there, do on stream. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what this symbol is supposed to be. Some sort of space energy thing. I don't know. I guess I should know, but I don't know. Fast Forces. If you just getting into HeroClix, highly recommend Fast Forces, especially one like this. So you get 6 figures in a box. It's not blind packed. You know what you're going to get. Kind of a weird mix of characters. You get Havoc and Polaris. You get Professor X. Darwin. Marvel Girl, and Warpath. And again, obviously, we've seen these figures before. They're in the main set. These are same sculpt, same paint. Sometimes they have different ones, but these are all just duplicates of what's in the main boosters. But these have their own unique dials, and they're all designed to play together. So this box, if you buy this box with these 6 figures, this is your 300-point team. Go! You're good to go right out of the box. They're all 50 points except for Professor X, who's 40, and Warpath is 60. So it's your whole team right there. Warpath in the movie was not as buff. Yeah, they haven't really. Warpath in the movie was something. Yeah, Warpath in the comics. I mean, again, it depends on the specific depiction, but sometimes Warpath is like 7 foot something. 400 pounds. Sometimes he can fly a little bit. Some writers forget that or remember that. Warpath has some things that they remember or forget about or change for the writing, whatever you're gonna do. And then, okay, so we've got the Dyson token pack, the Fast Forces set. There's also the Play at Home kit, which yeah, let's made up. Well, he flew in yeah, because what was it? What was when X-Force goes to the future and they have to fight Strife with Cable to bring Hope back? Like there's a minute there when he sort of flies. And again, it's sort of like they remember that he can fly. It's whatever, it's silly. So the Play at Home kit has maps where each square is marked with a code, so you can play with somebody over the internet or whatever. And it also comes with a unique figure. So we talked about how there is a Ultra Chase Deadpool popping out of a cake. That one is pink. This is the Play at Home Deadpool. The cake is blue. So don't get too excited. Oh, Messiah War, that's right. Or was it Messiah? Yeah, that sounds right. So it has this ultra large base. You turn the whole bottom of the cake. This figure is actually really fun. He's got some attacking abilities by himself, but the gimmick for this one is that he hands out goodie bags to his friends to other figures on your team, and then you roll to see what benefit the goodie bag does for your characters. So like one of them, the goodie bag is full of balloons and it lets them fly and things like that. So it's silly. It's a cute little mechanic that can be fun. And it says born in the 90s. So this is the easy Deadpool to get, $10 for this kit, and the other one is going to be much, much harder. It actually came with a little piece of cake, which doesn't do anything with this Deadpool. The other Deadpool can actually use cake. So, it's Deadpool. It's screwy. It sort of fits there, I guess. Runer said, did the Black Widow movie set come out? Yes, I believe it did come out, right? I think I saw other people had it. Yeah, like I said, I've had my... Yeah, it must have... I've seen some people have that. Yeah, I got my box of Black Widow HeroClix a very long time ago. Back when it was supposed to come out the first time. Last thing I'll say is, as with the last couple of... Last year... Okay, cool. Yes, it did come out. As with the last couple of HeroClix sets, there are these new legacy cards, which let you use old figures in a new way that are fully compatible with modern rules, and you can play them in modern settings. WizKids has done a pretty cool job of going back and finding like really fan favorite old figures. Like in the last set with Wonder Woman, they brought back some like really, really old Wonder Woman figures. And in this one, it's already been spoiled. I'm not the first one to see this, but giant size X-Men Magneto, which was like for a long time, this was the #1 HeroClix figure for a lot of people in a lot of places. And now he's back, baby. Same dial, so especially for modern dials, this one looks really weird. But this is what dials used to look like. Very long, 10 range, 2 targets, and yeah, in every possible way, this Magneto is better. Well, almost every possible way. It's got a bonus trait on top of his old trait. The old trait's been reworded. The special powers have been reworded. He's even cheaper than he was before. Yeah, he doesn't play exactly the same way as he used to, but arguably even better now. And you get a shiny card, which is still pretty hard to read. Yeah. So yeah. And again, this is obviously, you need the old Magneto figure. It didn't come with a figure, it's just the card for it. But apparently, like... So this old Magneto figure has never... He's kept some value even after all these years, but apparently once this card was revealed, that figure is blown up in value once again. I do have that figure in a box, in a closet somewhere. So yeah, that's my look at this new HeroClix set. Like I said, I'm a fan. I like X-Men stuff, even though I'm not current on comics. There's some figures in here that I'm definitely going to want to play on teams. X-23 for my X-Force teams, and Warpath. Try out some of these Shi'ar characters. Yeah. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed looking at this as well. In theory, next week I should be back on a more standard schedule, and I'll know when things are happening. So we will get back to hobby, and maybe even this Friday. At this point, I don't know what's happening on Friday at all. So who knows? If you tuned in last night on Jessica's stream, we played more of Disco Elysium, which was fantastic. Really, really enjoying that game. We did die of shame and sadness, but then we reverted and came back. We asked out a lady who did not like us, and that sent us in a spiral of shame and regret, and we died. But we persevere. Tomorrow, let me announce that tomorrow on Hyper, there's going to be Warhammer happening. I will be there. I will not be playing, but I will be there. We're actually going to have a full house. I don't know if they've announced everybody who's going to be there, so I'm not going to reveal it all. But we've got players who are going to be there coming in. We've got GMs and me, the rules guy, who are going to be there. So it'll be. This isn't going to be exactly how Warhammer will be going forward, but it'll be closer than we've been in a very long time. So if you are interested, tune in. Okay, they did announce it. All right, cool. I wasn't sure. So yes, we're gonna have Matt, Acevedo, and John. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be super cool. I'm very excited. And again, just to be in the studio. It'll be my first time in the studio in more than a year. First time in their new studio. Yeah, I'm very excited. We have some cool ideas about things that we're going to work on coming up. So hopefully we can talk more about that. So that'll be tomorrow. Like I said, I don't know if I'm streaming on Friday or not. And then Saturday, I will be going to Monrovia for the big grand opening of the Warhammer store and cafe. Stay tuned for more information on what that's going to look like, as far as if I'll be streaming and in what way, who else will be joining me, and all that good stuff. Yep. And I think that is all I have to say for today. So thanks everybody for hanging out. I know Wednesday is usually Warhammer Wednesday, but like I said, I just finished this review last night. It went up this morning. I figured, hey, we'll look at some cool HeroClix figures. And with that, have a great rest of your week. If I don't see you on those other streams, I'll be on the Discord for all of your. I know. I'm so sorry, Rabbit. I actually thought, should I stream in the Warhammer category? But I decided not to. There are those people out there who are so anal about that sort of thing. Wait, that's not a Warhammer figure. I could be like, well, look, I've got Warhammer right here. But I decided don't even have the worry for that kind of stress. Okay, everybody, be good, and I'll see you later. That's all I have to say. All right, have a great week, the rest of your week, everybody. See you later. Bye.